If someone asks you that what are the basic needs for survival for humans, then what will you tell? Well, of course, anyone can tell these three basic needs, that is air, water and food. We all know that we need air for oxygen. We breathe in oxygen and we exhale carbon dioxide, right? So we need oxygen to be alive. If you don't get oxygen for few minutes only, then you are dead. The next one comes the water. You need water not only when you are thirsty, but also for several bodily functions. Your body needs water because you are mostly made up of water. Your body is mostly made up of water. And then food. We all know that our body requires energy. Our body requires energy. It's a kind of fuel, right? It's a kind of fuel for our body. If there's no fuel, think it as a car. Think of it as a car. Your car or your any automobile either runs on some fuel. The fuel can be, petrol, it can be diesel, it can be gas, and even if your car or automobile runs on electricity, if they run on electricity. In either cases, whether they run on fuel like petrol, diesel, gas, or on electricity, in either cases they require what? Energy. They require what? Energy. If there is no fuel, your car or automobile or any machine will not get the fuel to perform the function, right? Then they are useless. They are just a simple thing that cannot operate any function. In the same way, our body runs on fuel. We need energy to perform bodily functions. So for that, food is important. While you will die if you don't get oxygen or air for few minutes only, you will die if you don't get water for 2 or 3 days. Imagine that you are stuck in a situation, in an emergency situation. You are stuck in a very horrible condition where you are not getting any water or food. And of course, if anyone asks you that what will be the worst thing that will happen to you, you will say that, hey, of course, one will die. If you are stuck in a condition where you're not getting any food, you're not getting any water, and no one is there to reach to you, then there's no point in that you will be surviving. So what will be the first thing that is going to kill anyone if someone is gets stuck in that condition? Well, the answer is water. If you don't get water just for 2 or 3 days, if you don't get a water, you will die. If you don't get food for 2 or 3 weeks, right, for 14 days or 21 days, your body will, in a very bad condition, in a very tough condition, it can survive for 2 or 3 weeks, but in a very tough condition, that it's not a favorable condition. It will be very, it will put a lot of pressure on your body, on the system of your body, and you will really struggle. But still, you can, survive for maybe for 12 days, for 14 days or more. But if there is no water, you are dead within 2 or 3 days only. So that's the importance of air, water and food. Next comes the fire, right? If you want to cook your food, then there's no other way, right? You need the fire. Well, of course, now we have some, electric machines that can cook our food, but still we need fire for some other purposes also, right? So fire is also a very important thing for us. Still, if someone has to cook food, most other people use fire only, and there are other uses of fire, like in the fields, in the agriculture and all. So they use fire. And then even in the industries, you use fire. Then comes the shelter, right? So if you don't have any shelter, then you cannot think of yourself, right? You need, if you have to sleep somewhere, if you have to sit somewhere, if you have to work somewhere, right? So you need some shelter also. So this is another important thing. These three things, are the first three things that will come into your mind. Then comes the sanitation. If you don't remove the waste products from your body, then it will be really very risky for you. You cannot survive without that. You should have a proper sanitation to remove the waste products, to remove the toxic elements from your body. And then the sleep. If you don't get a proper sleep, then what studies show that people die, right? If someone is not getting a proper sleep frequently, then even they get anxiety, they get depressed, and in several conditions, if people don't get proper sleep, then they die. Well, in this video tutorial, our main focus is going to be on food, and we will discuss about food. So if someone asks you that what actually food is, okay, so we made an analogy here, and we made an analogy with a car, with an automobile. The car or the automobile needs some fuel. Now fuel can be in the form of petrol, can be in the form of diesel, can be in the form of gas, or even your car or your automobile can run on electricity. In either cases, you need some energy for that particular machine to function. In the same way, our body is also like a machine, right? We have several parts, we have several systems in our body, that is, they run in a proper coordination with each other. And even if a single system or part doesn't function properly, then we tell that, hey, we are facing some problem, we don't feel good, right? So our body is a machine. We need fuel to function properly. We need fuel, and that fuel comes from where? It comes from food. We need food. If we eat some food, right? If we eat some food, then it goes in our system, in our digestive system. This is the stomach, and from here, once the food gets processed here, it goes for further processing down to the intestine, and from the small intestine to the large intestine, and then comes out in the form of waste. From here, there is a point of ingestion of the food, to the point when finally it is excreted. When you ingest the food, and after all the processing and all several processes, the waste products come out in the form of excretion. In that whole process, your body actually takes this food, whatever food material you have ingested in your body, and digests all the components from this food that are nutrients. Okay, your food is what? Your food is actually some material or some substance that has a kind of fuel in that, and that fuel is actually what? Is actually nutrients in that particular food item, nutrients, along with some dietary fiber, and water. Well, food items, of course, are not the primary source of water. For primary source, of course, we need some water from the outside. So, but still, food provides. There are several fruits, there are several vegetables, they are very high in water content. So yes, they are also a good source of water for our body. So when you eat the food, when you eat any material or any substance that you ingest in your body, which contains several things that acts as fuel for your body, and those are actually nutrients. So your body absorbs in the starting from the stomach down to the intestine. So it absorbs all the nutrients that will act as fuel for your body. Okay, so these nutrients actually can be, they can be carbohydrate, they can be carbohydrates, they can be fats, and it's more accurate to say them lipids. When you go to higher standards, then you will use, mostly you will use this term, that is lipids. Fats are actually a kind of lipids. Then what? Vitamins. Then vitamins. And then minerals. Minerals. So when your body absorbs nutrients, then it's actually a kind of fuel for your body. And when the term fuel comes, then you think of energy, right? So the main source of energy for your body is provided by, are provided by this carbohydrates. By the main sources of energy for your body are carbohydrates, are fats, and sorry, one more should happen here, and that is proteins. Proteins and proteins. So carbohydrates, fats, and proteins, these all provide energy to your body, right? You need calories. You would have heard that, hey, your body needs calories to perform, and calories is nothing else but, it's a kind of, you can think it as a fuel. You can think of it as a fuel. Okay, so carbohydrates, fats or lipids, and proteins, these three actually provide you the calories, and it provides you energy, and it allows you to function. It allows you to function. And your function can be physical, like if you want to rotate your head, if you want to rotate your hand, if you want to walk, if you want to talk, if you want to eat, even chewing and all, those all physical functions. And apart from these physical functions, your body actually needs energy when you are not even aware of that. There are several other functions going inside your body that you are not even aware of. You're not even aware of that your brain is actually using energy. You're not even aware of that your even liver, even your kidney, even your stomach, all these things actually require energy, but you're not aware of that. Yes, if you move your hands, if you move your legs, if you rotate your heads and all, if like I'm talking to you this time, I need the energy to perform these physical functions, right? But there are other things in the background which we are not aware of at all, that is going inside our body. So even all those things require energy. So carbohydrates, fats, and proteins, they provide calories. Calories give us energy, means energy, and energy means what? It means that we can perform some functions. The important thing to note is that even out of these three, carbohydrates and fats, these are the primary source of energy for our body. Yes, proteins give us energy, but proteins are mainly used, they are mainly used for structural function. For structural function. They are mainly used. Mainly used. I'm again repeating, yes, they provide calories to your body to give you energy, but if you will ask that out of these three, which are actually the primary source of energy, then carbohydrates and fats. Why? Because your body is really very smart, and it thinks and it always wants, to store proteins for the structural purposes. Now, if you're thinking that what are actually structural purposes, then I'll tell you, the mainly, if you look at your arms muscles, your leg muscles, or any muscles, all those things are made up of protein fibers. They are actually proteins. So carbohydrates and fats are mainly fuel source, or the source of calories or energy for your body. Proteins are mainly for the structural. Structural means for the hair, for the nails, for your muscles, and there are hell of things, inside our body that are made up of proteins. Yes, even carbohydrates and fats are also used for structural function. They are also used for structural function. Like proteins is also used for calories, but mainly for structural. Yes, carbohydrates and fats are also used for structure, but mainly for, this energy source. So at your level, at your standard, if someone asks you that which nutrients are the main sources of, energy for our body, then you will say that carbohydrates, fats, and proteins. But out of these three, carbohydrates and fats are the main fuel source for the energy, and proteins are the nutrients that are mostly used for the structural purposes. Okay, so what actually nutrients are? When you eat food, your body digests the food, that substance or material that you have taken, and what it does is actually your food is made up of these nutrients and dietary fiber and water. So your body actually absorbs these nutrients in your body and then process those nutrients. If it requires energy, then it will use that nutrient for energy, or if there's some structural purposes that has to be done, then it will use that particular nutrient for that one. Vitamins and minerals are other important nutrients that your body uses for several functions. There are many functions that your body uses vitamins and minerals for. Dietary fiber. Again, dietary fiber, there are many uses of dietary fiber in your body, but if I have to tell you, the main function of the dietary fiber is to think of as, when you pass the stool, right? So that stool is actually made up of all those substances within your food that your body cannot digest. And that actually helps to form the stool. So dietary fiber's main role is to, formation of stool. If you lack this dietary fiber in your food, then you'll face, several digestion process problems, and you'll not have a proper excretion of the stool. Even you would have heard some people of having problem of constipation, right? They have some problem of constipation, where they really find it hard or tough to pass the stool. They do not, get proper stool. So the first thing that doctor will tell them is to have proper dietary fiber, to eat those foods that are rich in fibers. So the main function, if someone asks you the main function of dietary fiber, tell them that dietary fiber is actually important for passing of stool. And then the water. Of course, we know about water, that if we don't drink water, we are gone in within 2 or 3 days. And not only to, for our thirst, but also for several other bodily functions, our body requires water.